Hey guys, good morning. Listen, I want to talk about fringe Christianity today. A lot of people, believe it or not, have never even heard the word nephalim. Uh, it, I'll explain to you why, but I just wanted to bring up a few points for people that don't know. You know, most Christians today are not fringe Christians like we are. Like I'm like an L.A. Marzulli or you know I believe in UFOs and things like that. I don't believe in aliens. I believe they're demons. I believe they're angel spirits because I know in Ezekiel and chariots of fire in the Bible and the Elisha story where they're surrounded by chariots of fire. I believe that angels fly on certain spiritual craft that are interdimensional. I also believe that God flies on a craft. If you really read in Ezekiel chapter 1 and Ezekiel chapter 10, that's exactly what he's doing. It also talks about the clouds of heaven and how God mounts the clouds and flies across the sky. Um, I also have heard, things about God mounts the cherub to fly. And the cherub can mean a variety of things. Some people think of them as little baby angels. There are no baby angels. They don't reproduce. Um, the thing is, it goes back to Genesis 6 and how you've been taught it or how it's interpreted. Um, they were angels when Moses wrote it. It says that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were fair and made a pact to take wives of them who they chose. Um, and when that happened, they had an offspring that was a hybrid offspring. Okay, they were soulless hybrid offspring and an abomination to God. That essentially is what caused the flood. If you listen to Noah and what it is about Noah that finds grace with God, is that he is perfect in his generations. And the word in Hebrew means he is perfect genetically. He doesn't have any angelic blood in him. These are now whether these are they're not that many. It's not the angels that fell with Satan. At the most in the book of Enoch it talks about 200. And if Jesus quotes from the book of Enoch and Jude references Enoch, then I'm pretty sure it's something we should look at. It was in the Septuagint. It was in our Bible before like 300 A.D. Okay, so and I'll explain that to you in a minute. But as far as that goes, what it is they were called the Bene Ha Elohim. They were the sons of God went into the daughters of men. It doesn't say sons of another man went into daughters of, and some people call that the Sethite theory because they just can't wrap their head around that angels could come down here and mate. How can angels mate? Jesus said in Matthew that there is no giving in marriage and none of that in heaven because we will be like the angels. True, these angels, angels can take human form. Take the one that wrestled with Jacob, okay, he took human form. The one that came to Joshua takes human form. You may entertain angels unawares, God said. Human form, okay? Now, I don't know how that's done. I think it has to do with some sort of portal that may be the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. I have a totally different theory on that altogether. I won't get into it. But what the word is oinkos, okay? In Jude, it said the angels that did not keep their first estate um, were punished in chains of darkness until the great judgment. So when Moses said there were giants on the earth in those days, which were the Nephilim, the offspring of these angels and women, um, it says like that they were giants. They just happened to be giants. The word gigantes in the Septuagint really just means earthborn, and we're all earthborn. So why would it specify them as earthborn? Well, they're children of angels, so they shouldn't have been earthborn. These particular angels are usually referred to as the Watchers, and I believe that their role was to watch over humans and guide them and teach them in certain ways while we were still young. You understand? Um, well, if you read Enoch, which you should, because it was part of the Bible, and don't say, well, if God had wanted it in there, He would have left it in there. These men that were Constantine and them, they totally destroyed the Bible and turned it into whatever they wanted, just like Catholics today, just like these Chrislam preachers today, just like these money grabbers. has nothing to do with anything except Satanism. Okay. Um, here's the idea. If the angels came, they made a pact. They landed on Mount Hermon. Now you can read that also in some Zechariah Sitchin, like the Sumerian tablets, which are satanic in themselves. I mean, they worship gods that are those angels. You see, Greek mythology, Northern mythology, all those gods, all the planets, everything is named after mythological creatures, but they're not mythological at all. They are the fallen angels or the children of the fallen angels, and they were given godlike status because they had great stature and great power and probably great technology that we didn't have before the flood. So God caused the flood to wipe that out. But Moses makes a statement. He says there was nephilim on the earth and then again afterwards. And we know of Goliath. We know of Goliath's brothers and 5 giants in Canaan and a lot of giants in Canaan because the Israelites said, we are but grasshoppers to them, and it scared them. Okay, so that if you know that key, you'll understand why a God like Jesus, how God is so crass in the Old Testament, so merciful in the New Testament. When Israel was to come in that land, they were to slaughter men, women, children, and cattle, and not even take their gold because it was all corrupt. It talks about before the before the flood, that all of earth was corrupted. Now, if you read Enoch, even you could read Edgar Casey. Now, don't get into psychics or nothing, but you can read this stuff. The Akashic record, the New Age record, says that these 200, and sometimes they're called Agigi or Grigori, Nephilim fathers, these fallen angels, the watchers who were supposed to be watching the earth, made a pact, landed on Mount Hermon where Jesus was transfigured. There was also, it's called Caesarea Philippi. There was also a thing called, it's a cave called the Gates of Hades. So it's the exact point when he says, Peter, flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but the Father in heaven. And he talks about, I will give you the keys to heaven so that the gates of Hades will not prevail against you. Well, he was actually standing there staring at a place called the Gates of Hades. It was a place for Pan worship. If you know anything about Pan, he's the god of sexual fertility, orgies, rape. He had a goat's legs and a goat horns. That should tell you who he is right there. This was in Roman time, Jesus' time. So that's where he went up and transfigured, kind of like to tell the enemy, look, I'm here. I don't care where you landed. I'm not scared of any of you guys. So, that being said, people just need to know that. And I mean, there are preachers today that preach this Sethite theory that, when it says sons of God, it's talking about the children of Seth as opposed to the children of Cain. Well, first of all, that makes the children of Seth look like the evil ones. And what about mating 2 humans together creates a race of giants, of hybrids? Had that happened, God wouldn't have destroyed the earth over. I mean, we mix breed all the time. We don't get destroyed. You know what I mean? We mix races all the time. It's just it's ridiculous. So that means Seth's children would have done something wrong, but Cain's children ended up being the good guys. So that's impossible. Plus you have Peter, 2 Peter. He backs it up, calls them angels. Jude calls them angels. In some of the parables of Jesus, like the wheats and the tares, the enemy sowed seeds too. Now, you could either look at that as Cain was Satan's son, and they had fraternal twins, and Abel was Adam's son, and sex was the original sin, which, that's a long story in itself. Or you can see that Genesis 6 is what it says it is. The same word, B'nai Elohim, which means angels, in Genesis means the same thing in Job. Okay, same word. It's obvious they're angels, but Jude says they did not keep their first estate. Well, that almost sounds like they didn't stay in heaven. What that means literally is that they disrobed something. In other words, they changed their physicalness into whatever would become man. And apparently this is possible to do. And they mated with these women. Now, a lot of people speculate that it could be that they genetically manipulate it like we're doing today. But at that time, it says went into the women of that time. It's a sexual in that day. Now today, some people believe in these alien abductions and how they take babies and make hybrids. You see, hybrid babies. And it does talk about, Jesus says, in the days of Noah, so it will be in the in the last day. So watch out for this Large Hadron Collider in CERN. And I need you to do some YouTube study on it, because what I'm afraid of is that they're admitting to opening portals. I think they're in league with demons trying to get this gate down. And I want you to look at corporate logos. I want you to look at movies. All of them say the same thing. You've got the evil real God. See, they believe Lucifer. They're Luciferian. And high-ranking Masons, the Illuminati, all these groups worship Lucifer, okay? They think he brought man intellect. That's the difference between faith and knowledge. That's why the tree of knowledge of good and evil was bad, and not just the tree of life. The tree of life would be Jesus, or faith, you see, not secret knowledge. And Satan has been playing that game. The first 3 lies he told, and he told Eve, he told Eve, he said, look, God knows your eyes will be open and it's good for wisdom. See, he's trying to give her secret information there. Well, they hoard this, and we got a worldwide banking conspiracy going on, and you guys are living in a slumberland, and I want you to study out conspiracy theories, especially when it has to do with the occult. It's on every logo on TV, okay? There's Saturn worship, which is Satan worship. There's Venus worship. There's worship, the Xbox, the Saturn GameCube, X in a box, a cube, a 5-pointed star, a 6-pointed star. All those are symbols of Satanism. This is a symbol of Satanism. It's V. The monster drink with the 3 balls on it is 666. You also have everywhere you look, in movies, everything. You see this a lot with singers. You see Jay-Z and people like that doing that. Those are occult symbols. They're witches. They're evil. They believe Lucifer brought light, and God held Adam and Eve tyrant in the Garden of Eden. So you have to know that. That's the basic of the whole thing before you can go any further. That's the key that unlocks the Bible right there. That is why God had to wipe out the earth the first time. That's why he wanted Israel to wipe out the Canaanites, because they had tainted the blood. In Enoch, it even talks about the angels. They sinned against nature. They sinned against the animals, like we're doing today. Did you ever seen that mouse that they grew a human ear on? We're splicing DNA, making all kinds of diseases, making modified foods, messing with the weather, using the HAARP. That's HAARP. That's it won't come to my mind. High Active Auroral Research Project, okay? They're also using the Hadron Collider to open portals, okay? If they're in league with Satan, and there's some way that where these angels are locked up, it says in Revelation, okay? It says, and there was an angel with a key to the bottomless pit. I say that key is CERN, the Hadron Collider. And when it opens, Nostradamus even had a prediction: run from Geneva because it will be destroyed. Black smoke, black smoke. Okay, I think it'll destroy itself, and through that particle beam, these demons that are locked away till judgment will be able to get out. And it does speak of that, that this army of locusts in Joel and in Revelation will come out of the smoke of that abyss. Okay, the guy with the key is named Apollyon. Now in Greek that means the destroyer. You get the word Apollo or Paul, okay, and Abaddon in the Hebrew. So I want you to watch. Now, not all Masons are bad, okay? See, they don't know. When they reach the 3rd degree, they tell them, oh, we've given you the secrets of Masonhood. Well, I read Rituals and Dogmas by Albert Pike, who was a Satanist anyway, 33rd degree Mason, and he said, absolutely not. They are told what they think is the truth, and we make them think that until they reach into 32 and 33 degree. Then they don't know. Look around. You'll see the 3s everywhere. You'll see 6s everywhere. You'll see eyeballs on commercials, magazines, everything. All of that is them communicating. And don't get me started about the World Trade Center, because we all know by now that was a lie. any intelligent person that'll watch watch Loose Change, the final edition. If you watch that for 15 minutes, you'll know you've been lied to. It is impossible for buildings to fall from jet fire. I've even seen jet fire not even bring down a tree. Okay, you know, and it does say like in those days will come back. Okay, now the Nephilim can mean fallen ones or giants, but they will return. Now whether that's part of this new alien UFO garbage, which they might fake, to get a new world government, which is what they're after, in order to do what they can to get this new world order. It's a bunch of alchemists that are so rich they cannot do anything else, so they're trying to find a way to live forever. And they're satanic. We murder babies in the womb every day. Well, these angels in Enoch, think of the things they taught men. They taught men to metal forgery to make weapons. They taught men how to dash the baby in the womb. The Bible flat out says don't let your babies pass through the fire, which was an idol named Moloch or Baal, where they would sacrifice their firstborn child and put him on a fire. That's the same as abortion, my people. That you might as well murder a baby when he comes out than murder him the day before. It just doesn't make any sense. But you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Saturn worship. Raphan, the star in Acts. It says the star that they made for themselves. The gods in the star that they made for themselves. That's what CERN is, okay? So keep an eye on the Large Hadron Collider. Keep your eyes open. And this was just kind of an introduction into what Nephilim meant. Because a lot of people were asking me that didn't know around here. And it was strange. I mean, but it's all over the internet. And everybody knows what it is. You cannot... Daniel says knowledge will increase. Daniel even speaks of the two legs of Nebuchadnezzar in the statue being mixed of iron and clay, and it says they will try to mix their seed with the seed of men, but it will not adhere. Well, what does that mean if we're not talking about seeds from somewhere else? The tares, what does that mean if they're not seeds from somewhere else? So I adjure you to look this stuff up, please, and I'll have a couple more videos coming out this afternoon, guys, and some really good ones. And I got another one on CERN that you're really going to like. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you soon, alright?